Hello, welcome to Back of the Nest match reaction with me, Chris Hambling, and with me today, Mike Scott. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Hello. I always like the start of the show because, do you know what I've done? I've um, I've got myself I've got the YouTube on in the background, the YouTube, and I can now hear myself back, but on like a 3 second delay. So that was
That,
a
that's
horrible
horrific.
moment. And I was just about to talk about the professionalism of this show, in the fact that you get a little glimpse of us sitting there stony faced just as before the video plays. So gone well at the start, isn't it? Luckily, Palace did better than us today, and 5-2 against West Ham. And let's face it, the two was very generous for them. Just an astonishing day, wasn't it?
Yeah, and let's not forget here that it looks as though Palace women are going to be in the WSL next season as well. Terrible time putting it on the same time as our game for the men, but yes, they've won, and it would take Charlton to win by 22 goals next week for Palace to not be winning the league. So
Yeah.
excellent afternoon all round.
Oh, definitely. Right. I mean, look, what like you say, timing wise, annoying because but for Palace to have a day like this when, barring that miracle for Charlton, which we all know is not going to happen, barring that, promotion for the women's team is just a fantastic achievement, and just, yeah, so happy for them. And then to stuff West Ham in the manner that we did. Again, let's not forget with the players we have out injured as well. I started having a little bit of a devious look at one of the West Ham forums, because it's really fun, isn't it, to read the anguish, but especially if it's sort of Cockney related anguish, and that makes it all the sweeter.
I'll tell you what, while you're talking, I'm going to go on
Yeah,
to a couple and get you a couple of choice quotes, see if I can find
please
some
do.
for
But if you go on Knees Up Mother Brown forum, which is my favourite for West
you. Oh,
Ham
yeah.
related anguish,
Right.
the first few pages, there's a lot of them just days before the game, talking about how it's going to be a nightmare, how many injuries they've got, how the Evelise and as they play together, they're going to run riot. They were not wrong, were they?
No, very much not. Yeah, I work with a couple of West Ham fans, and
Sorry.
they were not excited in the week. But more than that, I mean, it was only 48. What was it? 2.5 days ago that they got knocked out of Europe, and I'm not surprised they're in a poor way mentally at the moment. I can't blame them.
Yeah. But it's not been an easy season for Palace either. But we've seen from our perspective. I'm just in the chat seeing Coventry get back to 3-3 against Man United. I don't know if that's actually happened. People have a horrible tendency to lie, don't they? I know it was 3-2 when I last saw it. They have a horrible tendency to lie in comments. So I won't trust that fully just yet. But fingers crossed they have, because that's phenomenal considering they were 3 down. But anyway, we're here to talk about Palace, and I think the difference in this team now. I think we were worried, weren't we, a few weeks back? Really worried, like we might not get another win this season. What kind of worried? And do we have enough on the board, to keep everybody at bay? And we were just teetering on that brink. And a win against Liverpool and the win today has made it insane to even consider the fact that we might have gone down.
Well, let's quote from Knees Up Mother Brown, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So this is from Nia Thyron. As soon as I heard Bowen wasn't playing, I was expecting a defeat, but not by that scoreline. I can't say we're picking up any more points this season either. Even though we've got to play Luton, the season is done. I think we've all been guilty in some recent weeks of saying something quite similar. So yeah,
Yeah.
football fandom is universal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I always actively encourage everybody to go through the comments sections of games where we've won, but especially when you beat West Ham, it is just delightful. But I mean, today we got to focus a little bit on what was key today, and it's hard to focus away from Eze and Elise, but there were some absolutely outstanding performances all over the pitch. I mean, second consecutive game, Klein playing in a back three and doing a fantastic job. But I think the change in Hughes has been quite dramatic over the last few games. Instead of being in a midfield where his lack of mobility is just left him completely exposed and targeted by the opposition, all of a sudden he's that little terrier in the middle again, sort of getting involved at both ends of the pitch, you know, using his ability on the ball, because he's a fantastic passer of a ball as well. What do you reckon it is that's given Hughes that kind of new lease of life?
I mean, I'm going to state the obvious that the change of formation has obviously made it easier for him. But having said that, considering he's been in front of probably a different set of players every game he's played, it can't just be about that, because he's going to have to adapt every time when he's got a different set of defenders behind him. So I'm beginning to see a bit more of the kind of Jimmy Mack style stuff from him, and more of what he was doing at Watford. I can only think he would, and this is pure guesswork. I don't think he was fit for a very, very long time, and we're seeing him actually fit.
I think that's true.
Player, he's everyone loves him for a good reason. Like I don't think something Glasner's done has suddenly made Hughes, an incredible player. I genuinely think he was struggling on with a knock for a very, very long period of time.
Well, I'm going to pick up on one of the comments in the chat there from Tanto, which I also think is a big factor as well, and that's being alongside Wharton, who, fingers crossed, that wasn't a serious injury. Clearly took a knock to the knee, pushed it a bit the wrong way, and did look in some pretty significant discomfort at one stage. But again, taking him off, and Hamada come off the bench in that position, probably got to play central for the first time in a while, possibly ever. I can't really remember him playing central too much, but I thought it was pretty good. But Wharton alongside, that calm head, the progressive passing, just takes the pressure off of Hughes having to do anything like that. He's not being asked to carry the ball. He's just able to recycle possession in a lot of ways. But I also think that, but going back to your point on fitness, it's extremely relevant for the whole squad. I think we all, across the board, every player looked to really struggle the first kind of couple of games with Glasner, asking the team to run. And it's no coincidence that the second halves were probably a little bit harder to keep the momentum going than the first. But that's improved kind of week on week, and you're now seeing us being able to keep that up 75 minutes, which is enough to win a lot of games in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to pick up on Dortmund Palace, and I'd love to know why Dortmund Palace chose Palace. That's good. I've been supporting Palace for 2 to 3 years. I've never seen a game besides Leeds this high scoring. I can think of Leicester 5-0. What else have we got?
There was a 5-2 against Stoke where Wayne Routledge scored a hat-trick. No, not a hat-trick. AJ scored a hat-trick. Routledge scored a 360 spin and drill into the corner. There you go. That's a 5-2, I remember.
5-3 Bournemouth. About 5 or 6 years ago.
Henry's gone for 5-3 the Bournemouth game as well.
Have we ever scored 6 in the Premier League?
I don't think so, no. We scored, like you say, we scored 5 against Leicester. But I don't think we've scored 5 against... more than 5 in the Premier League. Correct us if we're wrong. We've definitely conceded more. It was who can forget the wonderful 7-0 against Liverpool? And obviously beyond that, the 9-0.
5-4 as well. Let's not talk about that.
No, we're talking positive things, aren't we? Yeah. We won. Yeah, that's it. We won 5-2. We absolutely smashed West Ham completely. I think. Look, first half. Let's talk. We were 4-0 up and had other chances to maybe score 5 or 6 in the first half. And you think about against Liverpool. Yes, we were. They missed some sitters. We got some blocks in at the last minute, but we created a similar amount of really high quality opportunities in the first half against Liverpool. Difference being we took them today. Obviously, Eze was absolutely on fire whole game, like until he went off to a standing ovation. Do you think there's an element of him looking at that England squad, getting back to full fitness, realizing he's got to have one last push, or is this simply just fitness?
Well, so on Simon Jordan's show on TalkSport a couple of weeks ago, Martin Keown was talking about how some players were playing in order to make sure that they were around the England setup. I mean, I'm sure that's in the back of your mind, but when you're on the pitch, it's not what you're thinking about, is it? I mean, today he just trying to prove to himself as much as anything, and he's definitely back. I think it really helped that West Ham gave a couple of yards in every situation, and it perfectly fit him, perfectly fit Wharton. But I don't think it's got anything to do with the England side whatsoever. He's got his fitness back. He's got Elite back, and he's got Mateta on fire at the moment. Well, that's what his ninth league goal this season, the second one. So he's not going to get a better opportunity to put himself in the shop window for whatever reason, whether it's international caps, whether it's a massive move to a bigger club that he wants to go to, whether it's just that he wants to play football. I don't really mind, but he looked like he was absolutely loving life today. Every time he panned over on the screen, he just looked like he was absolutely loving life.
Yeah, no, it was so good to see. There was a moment prior to the fourth goal going in where I said this, if anyone was following us on Twitter/X, where I said I don't think I've ever witnessed a Palace team that's got to that point where the crowd are shouting "Ole" every time we play a pass, and we ran out of Oles. We just got bored. Like, there was just too many Oles, and we were just like, we're stopping it now. We played another 20 passes after we stopped the Oles. Then there was a couple of little blocks, and we put it back in and scored. And I just thought to myself, I have never seen that. In fact, I said I've never seen it in a Palace side. I don't think I've ever seen it in any side. I've never seen a crowd go, all right, okay, your 35, 40 passes strung together is more than enough. We're done with our little bit of fun, and then just the team carry on. It was, as again Tanta was saying in the chat, the domination of West Ham, but to have that spell, to be 3-0 up and knocking it about like that 25, 30 minutes into a game was truly astonishing.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the third of Danny Butterfield's hat-trick, well, there was some Olays, but I doubt there was. No, it was cricket-esque. I mean, you get that kind of thing in the cricket when everyone's bored waiting for the next ball. But yeah, agreed. I got texts from people throughout, at half-time. I don't think people knew what to do with themselves on the concourse. Like, just having an extra cigarette to just try and understand what had just happened. People that don't usually message me just going, I can't believe what I've just watched. And you don't really know what to sing on. There's no point there's no point singing the usual repertoire because they don't quite do justice to the team. So what do you do? Have you got a special song that you only bring out once every 3 seasons?
Well, Nick made the point that for quite the first time in a long while, the by far the greatest team the world has ever seen chant wasn't deeply ironic. We usually sing that when we're 3.5-0, 3-0 down at half time, and and just needing to cheer ourselves up. So it's a very odd spell to be witnessing, really, and frankly, coming to the end of the season as well, it's frustrating because I want more. I want to see more of this team grow and develop, and we're going to have a break, unfortunately.
Well, and plus, what's he going to do with the 11 for the rest of the season? I mean, it brings up a couple of people have mentioned this. So Urban Lens and then Boomslang CEO Hamada. So Hamada needs more consistent playing time, and Hamada was a bit dodgy, I thought. The incredible stat that he's played for Palace 26 times, of which he's come on as a substitute 26 times. Yeah. That is nuts. Absolutely nuts. I think he's on a bit of a hiding to nothing coming on there, to be honest. I don't really see what he can do. He's replacing a player that was arguably one of the best players on the pitch, or I don't think there's any argument, he's one of the best players on the pitch, and he doesn't have the same skill set. So it's very hard on him to say too much. I don't know what you thought about him.
I liked the little cameo I saw because he just got involved. And he didn't look out of place. But I mean, it's something of a feature of us in this early spell under Glasner, in that you think about how players are slotting into the side. I mean, it was great to have Richards back today, but I'll go back to what I said earlier about Klein. And then beyond, you look at everybody who slots into the team. It's no longer about, but you don't have to be worried about it. They slot into the position that they're asked to play in, and they play like they've been there forever. And I thought Hamada, for the first time playing central, I think his movement was good. I think when he got the ball, he was quite relaxed, quite calm with it. He didn't seem to want to panic and get rid of it as quickly as possible. But I think the stat that you've kind of given there, which I heard as well, is exactly the point. He's got to start a game or two before the end of the season, because we don't really know what we've got. We bought him to add competition into the centre of midfield at a point where we kind of knew he wasn't 100% ready for that, but I don't think we thought a year later he would still not have had a start. But there you go. Henry says no guest today. I probably haven't put the link up. That's what it is. I haven't spoken to Mike in a while. It's just nice to chat to him. Give me a break.
Yeah, apologies, Henry. You can count me as a guest if you want.
Yeah, technically, yeah, you are. I mean, I'm a guest. There's no actual people on. It's two guests now.
Yeah,
but there you go. There's a little link up if you want to join us, and you'll join the queue, and I'll put you on when I want. But don't think, Henry, that now you've said that you want other people on. Don't think you're getting on, mate. Shame me, will you?
No, after you said that, he can come on. I'd like to talk a little bit more about I'd like to talk a little bit more about the fact that players have been able to just slide in.
Yeah.
Because I've got to be honest, I was very sceptical that was going to happen the rest of this season, and maybe I've not given Glasner enough credit. I just I thought it'd be a sort of slow ascension and then a few signings, but it's looking like with 3-4 games to go, he'd probably be able to mix the side up a bit. And like you say, I'm not even sure it's going to have a particularly big impact. Like I was going to say, what would your ideal back four be, and what's your ideal back three then, and what's your ideal setup if Gay doesn't come back at all? Like what's I pretty much don't mind, any of them, to be honest. I'm not really bothered.
Well, that's kind of the point. It just doesn't seem like it's a decision worth worrying about. He'll just pick some random person from the squad, stick him in at centre back. They'll be fine. I can't help but thinking, if you manage to keep this squad together and go into next year, if Wharton's fit, Doucouré is fit, playing them two together in the midfield. I don't know. It's really hard. I feel like Lerma can almost slot into that back three, and that goes back to your question of Gay. If you lose Gay out of the squad completely and he goes somewhere else, you've got Jefferson Lerma, who's been outstanding, and maybe it'd be a bit of a waste to see him in the in the back line. But because of how we play, we need people who are good on the ball in that back line. Joe fits brilliantly. Anyway, Henry's trying to join. I'm not sure. I'm still not sure about it. But I'm going to stick Alex as first in the queue, so Henry's going to have to be very, very patient as he sits there chewing gum. Yeah, I can see you, Henry. I can see you. But let's pop Alex on now, and he can regale us with his thoughts. Hi, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Boom, boom, boom. Mateta's in the room. There it goes. Yeah. Okay.
That's the energy we need.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need to do. Thanks. Right. Cheers. Bye. Nah, go on.
What was that? Like I kept going like my wife was like, "What's happening in the other room?" And then she left. But yeah. Anyway, it was incredible.
I hope this was
So
during the football, Alex. I hope this wasn't some unrelated issue that you're
yes,
about to
it was.
make this really
I was
dirty.
watching football. Okay,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
wasn't
All
Yeah,
right.
doing anything
yeah.
Carry
else.
on.
Okay,
All right. Good.
I don't want to hear it.
Good.
So first off, can I get an apology to myself about Hughes, Mr. Hambling?
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. I've never even been on this show. I don't know what you mean. Must be some other guy you're talking about. I don't
Last
do
time I was
apologies.
on, I had to defend him to my life. And
Oh,
it's going to show you that, like, in certain ways, he will always be exposed, especially because he's not a very big player. But he is a very good breaker up of play. And today, him and Wharton just made it so that they didn't even have the ball. Like
yeah,
they couldn't get the ball. They couldn't get a foothold in. So everyone else should totally be on Eze, Elise. I thought Munoz ramped up the crowd a little bit. Same with Richards. They made some really nice tackles that got people involved. Like I can't think of a poor performance out of any of the starting 11, and the subs. You really can't get mad at any of them because the game's over when they come in. You know.
yeah,
So
Well, just got to put it in perspective with Hughes. If there's a brief period in England of it being sunny, and it gets above about 21 degrees, he's gonna suffer a bit going back to 50. So.
yeah, we saw that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Um,
I can give you that one, maybe.
I will acknowledge. Hughes has put in two performances in a row, really, that I no longer thought he was capable of. Because I mean, Mike mentioned it earlier. It was sort of compared him to MacArthur, and that's kind of what I've always expected of Hughes, to never not to be like incredibly dynamic and be up and down the pitch, but to be that little terrier in midfield who's biting in the tackle, but also has that quality on the ball. And MacArthur did that for years at Palace, and I feel like
Right.
Hughes was exposed in the previous system, and he was exposed through a lack of fitness, and that might be injury. He might have been carrying injury for a while.
Both are true, yeah.
Obviously, he's got an injury. He's obviously got an injury history, which he himself has talked about changing the player he is. Because obviously, coming through at Derby, he was a fairly dynamic attacking midfielder, but he kind of lost that mobility through quite a bad injury. So, all of those things together kind of point you in a direction of, hey, get the right people around him and give him the right role. Don't ask players to do things they can't do. And again, that feels like, looking at Glasner's messages that he gives, that seems to be part of that basic philosophy of not necessarily don't ask players to do things they can't do, but remind
Yeah.
players of what they can do, focus on their strengths,
Yeah, I don't
Um,
remember what player said it last week, but one of the players did kind of indirectly just say, I feel like it might have been Joa. I feel like we're going and winning the game, and that's a nice change of pace. Like,
yeah,
indirectly, kind of just being like, I get where Roy's coming from, but this is like a breath of fresh air. Like, and this is like something that we are asking for is like this type of team. Like if we play this way and we get eighth place next year, that'll be fantastic. We don't need Europe for me to feel like we did something that was worth watching. I just
yeah.
want, the occasional game like this where we just are on them from minute one. And it was like, okay, so for a few things, what did you guys think of their first goal? I thought it was miles offsides.
The problem was the footage that's been shown didn't show Munoz's position. The first thing I noticed when VAR was looking was the Munoz, when you were looking at the line of the roller on the pitch that's created the line across the pitch. You try and use that as a straight line because it is straight. And
Yeah.
Munoz's foot was right by that line, and then when you follow it up, Antonio was behind that line. So I was like, it's got nothing to do with where Joe is because he's miles past Anderson, right? If
Liverpool
it's
just
between them
scored.
two, he's
Damn it.
offside.
Mm.
But yeah,
We don't
it's
like Liverpool.
I'm assuming the magic green line that was drawn that just said yes, he's onside, and it seemed to relate to nothing. I'm assuming that was the line that
That was
Munoz was on.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
but I didn't think Munoz was on that side of the field, so I thought that Anderson was last man, so that's why I was very confused. But
yeah.
anyways,
I
No,
mean,
if you're
thanks,
looking at it, he
Glasner.
was at the bottom of the pitch. Yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah. Okay.
the only thing really concerns me about that, and obviously the second goal. Just Henderson was doing his best Wayne Hennessy impression. It's just not quite coming out enough. That to me is more important than whether it was a goal or not.
If that's the worst mistake that he makes, and it's when we were 5-1 winning, I don't give.
Yeah, yeah,
I
agreed.
give zero crap. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, mate.
So I don't think there's a
You're starting
thing
to lose you a little bit.
go.
You're getting a bit crackly.
yeah,
Oh,
cutting
can
out
you
there.
hear me
am I?
now?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Don't know what happened there.
Better. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Still a
mean,
little
yes,
jerky.
yeah. But no, you're okay.
Okay, so
We'll get you one
yeah,
last point, then we'll get Henry on because he is waiting, and I do
sounds
need
good.
to give him some direct grief. So, but yeah, one last. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Did you have another point, or did you want me to ask you a question? I've got a question for you.
Yeah, you ask me.
You came on
You asked
singing
me.
about Mateta, right? You came on singing "Boom,
Yep.
Boom, Boom." With the Mateta we're seeing now, do Palace need another striker?
I think need maybe not high on the list because there have been teams that do very well without a quote unquote striker that's like traditional. Like you could look back to Man City teams that would start Sterling up top. Like you can do things without, but what I appreciate is that he's actually doing what we need to make defenses. I gotta go. My dogs are going crazy. It's been fun. All right.
Alex, cheers, mate. Take care.
Bye,
See you soon.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Just while
Okay.
you're getting Henry on, a comment from Mitch
Yeah.
Blank. There's no Woolies on the Champs-Elysees, so Croydon wins. Not sure the relation, but fair enough. Important stuff.
You can't fault the you can't fault the logic, but that's generally because there isn't any. So, okay, on with Henry. Let's give him his fame, shall we? Here he is.
Hey, hello.
Hello,
Hey,
you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How are
Right.
you?
Yeah, not
I
too
heard you
bad.
got some grief to give me.
Yeah, I mean, just the cheek of it. How dare you tell me what to do?
The audacity, the audacity to ask.
I know.
Yeah, I know. So sorry
Can
about
can
that.
I
Yeah.
come on the show that's designed for people to come
I'm
on
sorry.
and talk?
I'm
Fine.
I'm sorry. I was just so raring to go. You know what I mean? It's just 5-0 win. It's 5-2. Sorry, absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
Pretty much a 5-star performance. I mean, I'll tell you something funny, right? I was actually 25 minutes late to the game because my stupid alarm didn't go off, and I couldn't believe it. I missed 3 goals, but not only that. When I got to the turnstiles outside the Homesdale, my digital ticket didn't work, so I would have seen our second and third goal, but I had to go and get one reprinted. So I missed the 2 goals, even though I was outside the stadium. So when I came in, we were 3-0 up. But luckily, I saw us score 2 anyway, which was good. I also saw us concede 2, but you know one of those was an absolute gift at the end. But yeah.
So you saw a 2-2 draw with West Ham.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because I've seen two goals in each net, but I know that there was 3 before that to us. So, but no, I'm
Did
very
we
much.
deserve to win
I
that
mean-
2-all draw?
I think we deserve it. I think I know I missed the first 25 minutes, but I get the vibe from the team, just the way that they play. That we really it was a very dominant performance. You know, I think it was just the confidence that's exuding out of the players now from this new manager. It's chalk and cheese from the old manager, and I think we can see that. And you can just tell that we're a different team with Ebbs and Elise on the pitch, and I just think that just the improvements in the individual performances. Mateta, he's going to get to 10 goals. I'm telling you, he's going to get to 10 goals. I think he's on 8 now.
Yeah.
It's
9,
9 apparently.
Edouard played pretty well, but you know what? I was a bit disappointed. I don't know about you, but when Mateta came off, I was thinking, right, he's on a hat trick here. We haven't had a Crystal Palace player score a hat trick since Yannick Bolasie against Sunderland in like 2015, I think it was. And he takes him off after being on 2 goals. And I just think that that's a good thing though, because he'll be disappointed not to get his hat trick, and that's the kind of disappointment that you want. You know, you don't.
Yeah, keep him hungry. But
I'm
like you. I was a bit like maybe give him five more minutes. He's kind of earned it. But
I really wanted that hat trick, man. Yeah. I really wanted that hat trick.
I quite like it because it clearly shows that Glasner, you know, arguably 36 points is probably enough.
Oh, where's second?
Clearly not. He's not looking. Yeah. He's not looking at personal milestones. It's like, well, back Wednesday, let's get another 3 points. Plus, you know, Yala, the greatest of all time. Don't want to lose that record.
But Wharton as well. I want to mention him because he just oozes class. He's so composed. £20 million is an absolute steal for that kind of composure at his age. The way, you know, his vision, his composure. I really hope he's not injured for too long because
I've got
he's just brilliant, isn't he?
Bit of an update on Wharton. Actually, Urban Lens has just put it in the chat. Same thing I've seen, which is that it was a clash of knees, and they don't think it's serious. So that's good news for everybody for sure, because we don't want to see him injured.
I want to say as well before I forget, congratulations to the women's team for getting promoted. That's an absolutely fantastic achievement. I'm lucky enough to I've got my Sunderland ticket for the last game. Hopefully, I won't be 25 minutes late to that as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just a fantastic day. You know what? I'm a little bit annoyed, only because, right? I mean, obviously, mainly I'm delighted at the win, but I missed the Leicester game when we won 5-1 all those years ago. And if we won 5-1 today, that would have been our joint highest win. So I would have been able to say that I've seen Palace's highest win. But no, Henderson has to flipping do that. And I mean, I guess if you're going to do that, you do it at 5-1 up. But I'm a bit annoyed at that.
It's a really harsh own goal for Mitchell to have to take that as an own goal when he's just looped the ball gently up at the keeper. It's just,
back-to-back wins as well.
So, first time this year.
Yeah, first time
in the season.
I mean, how good does that feel to get back-to-back wins? I mean, the Liverpool game we didn't expect. That was brilliant. But today, I think we approached this game with an air of confidence, and I really believe that if we can, you know, as long as we don't have horrendous injury luck like we have this year, as long as we can, because we can see that the players are buying into this system. I think we can have a good season next season because you can tell that we're building something here. And if we can keep, you know, recruiting wisely, like Doogie Freeman seems to be able to find these gems, which is, you know, which is brilliant. You know, it's fantastic to have a guy like that at the club. And I'm just really glad that we are safe. I mean, it would take a mathematical miracle there to go down. And Luton would have to win all 4. Plus, we'd have to lose all 4 and get, you know, an inferior goal difference as well. So we are safe. Now.
We're safe,
for sure.
Yeah. I heard that in the time we've been in the Premier League, I read this on X. The average amount of points you needed to stay up in those 11 seasons was 34.7. So there you go.
And we got 36. I think we're going to reach the 40s. Like we always seem to get in the 40-point mark, don't we? So
41 to 49 is what we've got every single season so far.
But what I will say is, I think Newcastle will be a very different game. I really do. I think Newcastle are a much better team than West Ham. I think West Ham's confidence was on the floor today, and our confidence was sky high, and I think that was a big factor in the win. But you know, I think Newcastle were a very, very good team, challenging for Europe as well. I think that'll be a very difficult game. Luckily, I'm not going to that, so I don't have a chance to be late to it. So, but yeah, I just you got to be happy. You got to be happy. You got to be optimistic.
On right. So Tim has just commented here. We can still finish above Brighton. That's exactly what I was thinking earlier. It is
And
possible.
that's the kind of blind optimism that we love Tim for.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
yeah, I think that would be a bit of a minor miracle, wouldn't it, if we did that?
it'd be
So,
incredible. It'd be incredible. It'd be an absolute bonus for the season. Could I just take you back to maybe one last thing, Henry? I know we've got Tim
Yeah.
waiting in the wings,
yeah.
although I think he's also cooking like he does every time this show is on. So we'll find out when Tim's actually ready. But yeah, he says still cooking. He's in the queue. So we've got five minutes just to go to the point I was going to make, and it's one we're going to return to a lot. It's already been talked about numerous times, no matter who's on the show. But the first thing that you kind of started talking about was, the confidence in the team, and and you refer back to the previous manager.
Yeah.
And we've also been talking about Eze and Elise in the same team, and somebody threw some stats up on Twitter earlier on that it was quite selective because it missed out the Luton game, which we did lose. But the last 4 games with Elise were positive results.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they were all wins, but I think they were all wins. But and then the last 5 without were losses, and it's kind of like, okay, so those who were kind of behind Hodgson didn't think we needed a change, felt he was treated harshly, all focused on the fact that he'd only been able to play those 2 players together a couple of times. And are now looking at Glasner and saying, well, he's had the luxury of having those players together a couple of times. He's got Munoz, he's got Wharton, so on and so forth. But I was looking on some other comments on Twitter talking about, but it's all about the attitude. That's the difference. You haven't got a manager saying this is the only way we can play. We need to keep it tight. We can't beat these teams on football, so we have to beat them some other way. Whereas Glasner's come in and gone, it's football, beat them, score more goals than them. And it almost is that simple.
I agree.
And it's not perfect.
No, it's not perfect. It will take some time. There's still lessons to learn, but it's just nice to be optimistic, At this time of the season, normally I'm sort of feeling a bit meh, a bit sort of apathetic. But today, as a Crystal Palace fan, heading into next season, knowing that we're going to be safe with a new manager, playing a good, attractive style. I mean, I know that Roy didn't have, and I wish Roy all the best, by the way. I think he's doing a lot better, which is great to see. But I think the difference with Roy was you never really believed in it. The players, they were trying, but in their heads, I think something subconsciously wasn't quite right in terms of, they wanted a different way of playing. And I think this different way of playing now is much better suited. Not just defensively.
When you say never, when you say never, you're only talking about towards the end of his tenure, right?
Well, maybe not. I mean, never's a strong word. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think just the belief that when we're attacking, we're going to score some goals, and that Mateta is that man right now. And personally, I believe that if he can retain this scoring form, then why do we need to look at a new striker? That's a different subject, but yeah, I'm just really over the moon, and it's just nice to have some optimism, going into the next season, and hopefully we can pick up a few more results between now and then. But yeah, thank you for having me on, guys.
I'm optimistic for you to make it in time for kickoff there next time.
Mate, you know what I'm going to do? I'm sick of technology. I'm going to buy an old-fashioned alarm clock.
Do it. Well, take care, Henry.
Cheers, guys. All the best.
See you later.
Right. Those tough 3 p.m. kickers.
That's it. We'll get Tim on in just a sec. I wanted to highlight Animal's comment there about Hodgson held us back, gaslit us into believing we should know our place and we're unfit. I definitely want to pick on the comment about the unfit element. I think if you're playing the way we played under Hodgson, it's pretty clear that there were two types of a lack of fitness. There was the lack of match fitness from the fringe players who didn't get any rotation and weren't given opportunities. But particularly we know the young players missed out on opportunities regularly. But if you went into the last 20 minutes of a game, it didn't matter how much the kind of senior pros were blowing out of their arse, completely knackered. They would stay on that pitch because he believed that was the best way to see the game out. And it's just been disproven. Similarly, sort of look at the back three lineup we've picked for the last few weeks. Tompkins would be in that lineup, whether or not he could walk or not. Holding would have been probably pushed back a bit early. He would have just insisted on this player goes in this position. It's that simple. He's a percentages manager. If you go against City with a weakened team, you're going to lose. If you go against Liverpool with a weakened team, you're going to lose. Let's not kid ourselves that we can get 3 points here. And he would say in the press, obviously we'd like to win. And then, I moaned about this frequently. He'd always use the word hope. And it used to drive me insane. Does Glasner ever say, well, I hope we'll win? He doesn't. He doesn't say, I hope we'll win. He says, we've got a few things that we think we can do that will get us goals. And if we do those things right and we defend properly, we can win the game. And that's a totally different attitude.
So that's because you said there was 2 points to it. I'm assuming you meant that the second one was that mentally he was killing off the team that weren't in his starting 11.
Partly that as well, but I thought, meant killing the team off that haven't been playing, but also the training style to play the way we played was not built on running for 90 minutes. It was not built on pressing other than on specific areas of the pitch. So we didn't have the fitness to do that, and that was the big difference. We played Burnley first game under Glasner, which was a bit of a kind of a misdirection, if you like, because they're not great, so we beat them. Everyone's like, the new dawn. And then obviously after that, you could see it was a bit more of a struggle for the players to match what Glasner wanted. But week by week, we've got fitter and stronger. And now you see the results of that against West Ham.
So, and more than that, do you think, whereas Hodgson didn't, I never felt, especially in the last bit of his first tenure and the whole of his second tenure, he didn't really care who we were playing. He was going to put out the team in this way. Correct. What do you think Glasner did on the back of Thursday's soul-destroying defeat for West Ham? I mean, he clearly knew that this was coming.
Yeah.
And set everyone out on the front foot. Hence why on Who Scored, the front three have all got an average of nearly 9. He clearly knew it was going to happen. So what did he do differently on the back of it being West Ham in the mental state that they're in?
Yeah, I think he does a really good job from what the players are saying. He does a really good job of just being consistently positive and showing them the opportunities that are there. I think, again, Roy's language is always around, if we work hard and we do these things, we can hope a chance will come. Whereas Glasner is like, this is how you will do it. He's very direct. This is how so take the Liverpool game. It doesn't take a genius to look at how they played against Atalanta and go, how did they concede their goals? Because this is the most recent example we have of a Liverpool team playing football. Oh, look, they were exploited in these areas. Let's exploit them in these areas. And it worked. We did exactly that first half. And then, again, the West Ham situation, he's seen them play in Europe. He knows they're going to be tired. He knows we've got to stretch the game and keep the ball. So again, we scored with our first real attack, which is a big plus. Like that makes the whole game plan so much easier. But look at how we did that. We spread we were the full width of the pitch. We moved the ball about. Look at the interplay with Eze and Elise playing in the 2-10s, but Eze was we'd just go wherever he wanted to get the ball, and the team could support it. But we weren't just watching Eze drop into the back four to pick the ball up. When he did that, Hughes moved forward. And when Hughes moved forward, Mateta changed position. Elise came across. It's that cohesion. It's that working for each other. But I tell you the key thing, the key difference under Glasner, when we concede possession, the nearest player to the ball, he switches and goes, and then everybody covers around it. Klein did it like really noticeably first half. Wharton got caught on the ball, and was trying to get it back. As soon as Klein spotted that Wharton was on the ground and had lost the ball, he was there in a flash. Didn't get the ball, but just applied that pressure, and the ball had to go back the other way. And that's the difference. Under Hodgson, you sit there, you stay in your position, it's regimented. When the ball comes into your zone, you go to the ball. But if the ball's not in your zone, you stand there, you watch it. And it worked for a while, but we were so predictable and easy to play against. I think we're incredibly unpredictable against Glasner. All you know is we're gonna run hard, and that's about as much as you can know before we get into the game. Should we get Tim on?
Yeah, do it.
He seems fully fed. He seems ready to go. And now he's unmuted. Tim, there we go.
Come on! That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Wasn't it?
It was. What a glorious, glorious day for Palace. The women. The only downside in the women's game is Elise Hughes, our top striker. She's a top striker in the division. She did go down, so hopefully she's okay. I saw her on crutches. I mean, Mitch, who was at the game, probably knows more than I would. But I had it on while I was watching the men's game. But that's brilliant. I mean, I love that. There's every odds that they're going up to the WSL next season. Brilliant stuff. And what a game. What a game. That was, I agree with everything you said there, Chris. The other thing I'll say, just on the attitude and the thing that is so different about the way that Glasner approaches these matches, that I find it's like oxygen. It's so refreshing. He had said, he gave an answer. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not sure I have this right. He said, if we don't go out to win every single match, then I should just retire. Which is like, yes, thank you. That is that. Think, yeah. Do I want anything more than that? No. As a Palace fan, that's what I want. I want you to go out and have a real go to the best of your ability. Football is such a confidence game. It is such a confidence game. And you could see just by virtue, I'll give you a great example of a player that is benefiting massively from increased confidence is Jean-Philippe Mateta. He's been, since he's gotten minutes in his legs and his confidence has gone up, he's been a terror against opposing center backs. He's just been on it. And it's been brilliant to watch. I do love that. Glasner doesn't just, it does appear that he also is a technically phenomenal coach. He's getting the players more fit. He's instilling his ideas relatively quickly. I mean, I think there are lots of things we can praise him for. I like Roy, but I tend to agree that we would go out and pretend as if experience and a low block is going to get you what you need, and it doesn't. The one thing I will say is that when Roy had a fully fit squad and he felt like we had creative players who could attack, then he'd have a go.
Yeah. So
like end of last season, then he'd actually have a go. But he seemed to be so conservative that his line for when it was okay to have a real go at it was that the bar was just so high. And for us, we don't want the bar to be that high. We want it to be this.
Yeah, not for an extended time. And we also don't want this kind of diminishing return thing either, do we? We're like, you can be pragmatic. And Roy was a very important part of Crystal Palace history.
No question.
By being pragmatic and by getting those percentage results. Viewing it over, like we as fans, we find it very hard to view a season as one block. But Roy is very good at that, as saying, if we do these things in this way, using these methods, the end result at the end of the season will be the thing that we want, right? That's what they say. Yes. If that is a real goal for Coventry, I'm very happy. Anyway, so, but I go back to what you say, Tim. It's not enough for us as fans. It just drifts. The enthusiasm will just drain away from you, and that's the effect. And that ends up with with Hodgson getting the brunt of that, you think of him as this kind of uninspiring, dour manager. But you're quite right. Given a fully confident, fully fit team, when he trusts them, he was capable of producing some really good football in multiple games. So credit where it's due.
And don't just look at. By the way, don't just look at last season. Look at when we've had really good players who could be creative and get on the ball. When we had the early days of Benteke, Zaha, Townsend, Kabay in the middle of the park, we had some. You mentioned some of the results that we have seen. We did. There weren't a lot of them, but there were games under Roy where we were brilliant attacking. It didn't happen a lot. And I think we would have liked to have seen it. I guess I should speak for myself. I would like to have seen it a lot more. And so I like that Glasner is every game is one we go out to win. And then I think he shows, and you tell me if you think this is right, I think he shows some in-game pragmatism. Like there comes a point during the game where Glasner will sort of switch it and say, okay, now it's time to protect, or now it's time to defend, or now we're going to, maybe alter our shape slightly. So, I mean, I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing. I know there are others in line, so I do have to, I'm sorry, Chris, I have to nakedly wear my American bias for a minute and say, like, did Chris Richards do a job on Mohamed Kudus? That was awesome. I mean, he wasn't perfect, and he still has to work on his progressive passing, but God bless him. I love Chris Richards.
The best haircut in the Premier League as well. Damn
right. The afro adds to the header, is what I'm saying. It adds to the header.
It's fine. I live with an American Tim. It's fine. It's don't worry. I'm fine with it.
I wear my bias on my sleeve, but I do think that in all seriousness, like we've defended much better, and I thought full credit to Glasner on that. He must have told Richards to say give him no space whatsoever, and he didn't. He was on him like a wet blanket all day, just gave him no room. I mean, the instruction must have been, do not let that man turn. And I think he got to turn once.
Well, I mean, Patrick of this parish obviously lived in America a very long time. But when we were just discussing signing him, he said, this guy is the real deal. And I think that gave us all a bit more patience with him, which is probably what we should have with every player. But he's absolutely. I mean, for me, I think he's worth 3 times what we paid for him already.
I agree.
Incredible player.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it gives me some amount of hope that because Gay hasn't signed a new contract, I think of all the players who go in the summer, it does seem to me that Gay is the one that is most likely, because there's just no new contract there. So he hasn't shown a willingness to recommit the way that Ebbs and Michael have. Ebbs and Michael could still go, but I think that Mark is the one that there's the strongest signal that he goes. And if he does, I will miss him because I love Mark Gay, but I am increasingly confident that Chris Richards can slot in there. I agree with you that Jefferson Lerma can be. He's naturally for the U.S. team. He plays on the right side. Ream plays on the left. Richards plays on the right. So he would slot into where Kleiny plays today, and that's natural for him. And then you could slot Jeff into the left side in an emergency, but hopefully I want us to go get Ronnie Edwards at Portsmouth. But I mean, anyway, I'm rambling now. What a great day for Palace. It just
Can I just be sure when you say slot Jeff in there, you mean Colombian Jeff, not the other Jeff?
Right. Yes. I'm
Just-
sorry.
Just
Jefferson
for my
Lerma.
peace of mind.
Yes.
Jefferson
yes.
Lerma,
yes.
yeah.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about Jeff Schlupp. I'm talking about
Mm.
Jefferson Lerma because I do think what he's has he proven to be fantastic, slotting into that spot and being really good. I mean, Jefferson Lerma's been fantastic in the air all season. He's very capable there. So anyway, yeah. It's great. It's up the Palace, man. What a phenomenal day. I love it.
Brilliant. Tim, thank you so much, my friend. And good to hear from you always.
Great to see you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take
See you
care.
then.
See you guys.
Well, that has absolutely flown by, actually. I mean, yeah, what last shout, if anyone does want to join, the link is in the chat, and I'll just wang it up on the screen one last time. But you're going to have to be quick because I think we'll kind of just bring things to a close. We've been on for about an hour somehow. I don't know how that's actually. We started late, to be fair, Mike, because I needed a wee. But there you go.
Needs must.
Yeah. So it seems to be
one more question before we go. Would the back three work with Gyro in there?
That is a very Mike question. You can't talk about Scott Dan anymore. So that's now gone, and it's yeah. Do you know what? It's not a crazy suggestion, is it? Because good on the ball, played centre back before, played across the back line, only just back from fitness, and it's first look for Glasner at him, and he's been involved every time since he's been fit, but out of contract. And if you're looking at building a squad, are you going to use that space in the squad for something more?
And if you're
less languid.
If you're Joe Riedewald, you're probably thinking, I'd really like to play some football.
Yeah, well, possibly. Possibly. I wouldn't necessarily rule it out, whether or not he's quite happy as he is. But do you know, I had looked at it the other day, he's an incredibly long-serving player. Like, when you think you kind of forget when he joined us, he was like, 20 or something like that? It's almost a kind of a whole career of, I'll any minute now, you're going to play me for, a bunch of consecutive games, and I'll establish myself in the team. But somehow he's 27. He joined us in 2017. I was a mere 37 years old. I'm now a man in my very early 40s, and it's astonishing. But last time he played regularly was 2020 to 21 season. He had 33 games there, bunch of them at left back. So I'm not going to hold my breath.
No, me neither.
No.
Should we?
Animal for being 37 tomorrow. What?
Should we leave it now?
So I feel like we've ended on a bit of a low point now because I didn't hear you and just said what. Probably need to find some way of bringing the energy up just at the end so people kind of want to come back. I don't know. It's usually the technique, isn't it?
Gyro Riedewald.
Go Gyro Riedewald. I'd watch a revamped version of Inspector Gadget with Gyro. And on that note, thank you everybody for joining us. Fantastic win for Palace today, 5-2, and the 2 was generous, let's face it. And suggestion in the chat that you are bored. Mike's never bored, he's just relaxed, very, very relaxed all of the time. So we'll just leave it at that. But thanks everyone. Join us again soon. Like, subscribe, all those things. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I have to press end stream. I'm pressing end stream now.